Good afternoon and welcome to the next installment of the Catcher in the fly tying instruction. I just wanted to let you know that there's a lot of different flies that you can tie. Some of them are really simple, some are really complex. Today we're going to tie one of the most simple flies in my opinion that I have ever tied. It's called a Hares Ear Nymph. Today we're going to be starting with a size 12 heavy wet nymph hook. Our friends at Orvis. Shameless plug. And some tan thread, little hare's ear dubbing, a medium size bead head, just so we can get the fly down a little bit. And what some people will tell me is me cheating, but we're going to go ahead and use some dubbing wax. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and get the bead on the hook. There are a lot of different ways to do this, but the biggest thing you want to do is make sure that the small end is towards the eye of the hook. So just thread the hook in there, right to the end, and then into the vise. Very simple. Next we're going to start just as we always start, by putting a layer of thread down for our base. In case you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just pulling out the rest of my tools. It's always best to be prepared as opposed to how I'm doing this today, which is kind of on the fly. So let's go ahead and put down a base. I'm using extra long tag just so you can see what I'm doing. I was told the last time I did this that you guys wanted to have it zoomed in a little bit, so I'm going to hope that this film is working and zoomed in a little tighter so you can actually see what's going on. So we're going to put a base of thread down, and I like to put a little more up near the head, near the bead, just to keep the bead from moving around too much on me. So I put a nice good thick base right there, just a bunch of rounds, and then we're going to work all the way back to the bend in the hook. Incidentally, going to be competing in the 2-fly tournament the end of April, and beadhead nymph going to be one of my flies. So cut off the tag, and then there's several different ways of putting dubbing on. You can create a dubbing loop, which is very simple. Just make a loop in the thread and put a few wraps on there to hold it in place. And if you have a dubbing loop tool, it makes it easier because you can actually hold the loop open. Put some wax in there, put your dubbing in there, give it a spin, and then you just wrap the dubbing loop all the way forward. I don't have a dubbing loop tool, so we're going to do it the slightly harder way, which is, again, in my mind, this is one of the easiest flies to tie. So we're going to take a little bit of our dubbing wax and just coat the thread. I like to get a good coat on it. The wax also helps the fly stay together a little bit, in my opinion. So get a nice good coat of wax on the thread. Then take a little pinch. A little dubbing will go you a long way. So you put a little pinch of dubbing and just work it down the waxed thread, like so. Sometimes the dubbing gets a little caked because it's been in the plastic bag and you're tying it for so long, so you got to pull it apart a little bit. And it's okay for there to be long hairs, short hairs, and makes it for a little more of a enticing, buggy looking fly. So once I get the thread nicely dubbed, I just give it a quick twist just to make sure all the dubbing is going to hang on there. And then I do something a little different that some folks don't do. I personally like a little bit of flash in my fly. So I take a little bit of flash boot, and I'm just going to go ahead and work it right into the dubbing. Just give it a couple twists around. Works its way right into the dubbing. And then we're going to do it the easy way. Give it a couple quick rounds so that we get past the barb of the hook. Okay, so we're just going to wrap it up, work our way up the hook shank. You want to get a little thicker as you go up. Back of the fly is nice and thin as you build up the body. A little more thread. Work it forward, work it forward. There we go. Push the bead head forward. Give the dubbing a little more twist because it's not right where it belongs. Dub it on, dub it on, dub it on. Work it right into the head, the bead head itself. And you'll notice it's got some fuzziness to it. This is, like I said, one of the easiest flies in the world to tie, in my opinion. I also like putting the whip finish behind the bead eye, or the bead, because it helps protect the fly a little bit and make it last a little longer. So once we get it dubbing wrapped on, whip finish 1, 2, and 3. Pull it down nice and tight. One, 2, 3, nice and tight. Trim the thread, and voila, beadhead Hares Ear Nymph. That's simple. Again, as always, if you liked what we did today, feel free to comment on our Facebook page or on the YouTube page that we were posting our pictures. If you have a specific fly you'd like to tie, by all means, drop me a line. Let me know. I'll be giving out 6 free flies to the next 5 people who like me on Facebook. Make sure you leave a comment. thecatcherandthefly.com. Thanks. Have a nice day.